Greetings, you're listening to the Cold Call Lawcast, the Minnesota Law School podcast featuring students from the University of Minnesota Law School, the University of St. Thomas School of Law, and the Mitchell-Hamlin School of Law. Welcome everyone to the Cold Call Lawcast. I'm Mitch, a 1L at the University of St. Thomas School of Law, and with me are my co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Abby. I'm a 1L at the University of Minnesota Law School.
Hello, I'm Anthony. I am a 2L at the Mitchell-Hamlin School of Law.
Hi, I'm Colleen. I'm filling in for Hannah today. I'm a 3L at St. Thomas.
And a nearly graduated 3L as well. And Abby, you're going to be a 2L here pretty shortly
Very
too.
True.
Or do they call it, what do they call
Rising.
it?
A rising
2L.
star.
Yes. So what's like a falling, are you a falling 1L now? Is that what it is? And then
The
you
sun
rise?
is setting on my 1L year.
The sun is setting.
It's very nice.
Like a phoenix.
Yes.
With us today we have Robby Dube from the University of Minnesota Law School. Welcome, Robby.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And you are a 3L at the University of Minnesota, so like Colleen, your time is running short here.
That is true. I had my last final yesterday, so it's nothing but freedom and a carefree summer from here, from what I understand.
Is that what you're doing as well, Colleen?
Yeah, no, it'll just, be lots of vacations, lots of concerts, lots of beach days. Yeah.
All those
fun.
famous Minnesota beaches I'm really excited for. Ooh.
Robby, what did you do before you came to law school all those 3 years ago?
So I'm what I call a straight shot. I came straight from kindergarten through to law school. I didn't take any time off from undergrad. While I was in undergrad, I was in D.C. for a while, worked on the House Judiciary Committee for the United States Congress, and then I was working a presidential campaign. I did a lot of campaign work, so I was working a presidential campaign before I came into law school. So that was kind of my focus. And then during the summers, I was a camp counselor, so a little bit different than elections, but still managing a lot of screaming people all the same. So.
Basically the same thing. You do
Very
basically the same
similar.
thing.
At least the kids listen, so that's nice.
Oh.
Yeah, Congress, not so much.
Right. And so those were just summer internships that you were doing, or?
So the Washington, D.C. was a fellowship program called the Archer Fellowship. It's done through the University of Texas System Schools, and they place you in D.C., give you housing, and then you have to find a job for you. So I found the job myself through the fellowship, and then all the other things were during the summer. The campaigns were throughout the different semesters or summers, just depending on when election season was.
And so are you a Texan?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Or a Texan through and through, huh?
Yeah.
And so then
not so much the accent. People don't always believe me that I'm from Texas, but sometimes the drawl will come out.
So what made you come to Minnesota?
Yeah, I really didn't like having nice winters, and I figured I should suffer because life has been too good. No, I chose to come to Minnesota mostly because of the culture of the law school.
Okay.
I was juggling, trying to decide between Michigan, UT Austin, or Minnesota, and just didn't get the best vibes from from Michigan when I was checking them out. I was like, sometimes it just doesn't click.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought for sure I'd probably go to UT Austin because I'm from Texas. It just made sense. But when I went there, it was, again, just a culture clash where I was just like, this seems very much of a more competitive setting than what I want from law school. My kind of big thought was any of those three are going to, set me up to have a successful career. So it's more important that whichever environment I'm in is going to shape who I am for the next 3 years, shape the friends that I have, and shape my outlook on the world. And I want to like who I am at the end of 3 years, not just have a JD. And so while Michigan and UT Austin were incredible schools, Minnesota is the one I came to and just immediately felt like, yes, this is the culture I'm looking for. It's collegial. It's people who seem to like, I get ahead by all of us getting ahead kind of mentality. Right. And I just was really enamored by the state when I came up here too. Kind of snags. A lot of Texans, actually. There's like 13 in my class alone.
Oh, really?
And there's like 40 of us in 3 classes currently. So a lot of us come up here for some reason.
I'm going to ask a question. Can I ask, what time of the year did you come and visit?
I came in March, and it was extremely cold. For a Texan, our winters, if it's a bad winter, it might get to like 25, and it was like 16 degrees. And I was like, okay, this is probably my life, which is not ideal, but that's okay. So I didn't come in a balmy time where I was like, wow, this is such a nice state. But I do think that whoever settled Minnesota must have come here during the summer and like written home being like, this place is amazing. And then the winter hit and they're like, well, crap, I can't like back down now.
Anymore,
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I've already told my family to come. And so then they just got stuck here.
So what have been kind of the best and worst parts of your experience at the University of Minnesota?
So I think the two things that kind of stick out to me as best in my mind, one has been TORT, Theater of the Relatively Talentless, that we do every year. I did it all 3 years. I was a course member, I was a featured dancer, and then I was head writer this year. I wrote the show that was Beauty and the Beast theme. And that was a lot of fun, first off, because I got to meet people from all 3 years, including LLMs, which are international students who just come for a 1-year program. So that was cool just to get to meet people that way, but it was also really fun just to have an artistic outlet in law school, when a lot of times it's like you're sitting here being like, what does this case from 1500 mean? And why did they write like this? And why am I being punished? You can then go and dance, and that's really fun. So that was a really big one.
I went to the Friday showing.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a great dancer, by the way. That was some fantastic dancing.
Thank you. That would surprise my friends back home, but I appreciate that. So that was a good one. And then just the friends I made along the way. Whether it was through TORT or whether it was through some of my section mates or whether it's just through various disparate activities, I really met incredible people in law school, people who are way smarter than I am, people who are way more talented than I am, but also people who just have big hearts, and we really cared about each other and still do. So that has been a really positive experience about Minnesota. I think some of the worst, TORT, my TORTS class, hated that class, hated the subject, hated everything about it.
So you like TORT. But
not
torts.
torts. It's a very fine distinction. It was an 8 a.m. class that we had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it just sucked the life out of me. So I was not a big fan of torts, and didn't like the OCI process of law school. It really is.
For people who don't know what OCI is, can you?
It's on-campus interviews. It's the interview process you do going into your 2L year to find a job at a big or medium-sized law firm. For anyone who saw TORT, a lot of the riffs that we did of the law firm interview experience were based on direct experiences I had. And it's just a process where you can tell a lot of times the interviewers don't necessarily want to be there, or they're just, you're kind of just parroting things you learn on their website and you don't know them super well. And it's just a very artificial way to see if someone's going to be a good fit for the firm. And also they're doing it based just on your 1L grades for the most part, which I don't think is a really good reflection of what you're going to be like as a lawyer or really what your capabilities are. I think it would be a much better system to wait until 2L spring when people have had a semester of taking what they want to take to gauge. So I think the timeline in which you do it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Obviously, I don't know the law firm business side, so it probably makes sense from that side. And then just the process is a lot of times it's a very high stress. It's very much you're supposed to do things this way. You're supposed to get an OCI job when really you don't have to do that. And you can be very successful in a lot of different fields. And yeah, I just didn't enjoy it.
And so did you work at law firms your 1L to 2L year and your 2L to 3 year?
Yep. So I worked at a small law firm here in Minneapolis starting in March of my 1L year and went through to November of my 2L year. I did do the OCI process, worked at a medium law firm my 2L summer. And then actually I went back to that small law firm my 3L fall. So I've worked most of law school.
Colleen, did you do OCIs?
No, I did not. I missed the application deadline, and that was probably a sign from God that wasn't for me.
Yeah, I haven't done any of that stuff either.
And so is it just for law firms, like medium and large law firms, or small too?
That's mostly the recruiting. For those medium and large ones, that's the 95% of how they get their new recruits.
We had a pre-OCI session like a couple weeks ago that I went to, and it was a really weird experience for me because that's the first time I tried that. But they had like the St. Paul prosecutor's office for Ramsey County was there, but otherwise I think it was all firms. I think they might have been the only one.
Yeah, there's a lot of times you'll get some big city attorney offices, or like the Chicago will come in a lot. There's also off-campus. So a lot of times people go to D.C., New York, Chicago, California to do these interviews as well. Sometimes businesses will come for their legal counsel positions. That's a lot rarer, but it does. See, there was the draw right there, rarer. But that's pretty rare. It's usually the medium and large law firms.
Okay. And so is there any other things that you would say are your best or worst parts at the U of M?
I really enjoyed getting to be student body president. this last year. I had a
You're a student. I did not know that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so I was president of what we call Law Council, which is our student body association, and my big goal was get stuff done. I had a really big initiative that I always thought student government was where people go to get resume liners and do nothing useful for people. And so I wanted to make sure that that was not what this experience was. So I've done Law Council all 3 years, but as president this year, I had a big initiative called Get Stuff Done, where we had to focus on getting tangible like capital improvements or policy changes in the school. And we were able to do a lot of stuff in 1 year. And I was really proud of what we accomplished and what the council accomplished and kind of the culture change of Law Council. So I really enjoyed that as well.
Excellent. And so what do you have planned here after you graduate?
So besides the bar, I will be...
When do you take the bar?
The bar is July 30th through 31st,
Okay.
but studying starts for it really soon, like mid-May. I think May 20th for Barbary, and I'm in Kaplan, which is like May 29th, I think. And so after I take and pass the bar, I will be heading off to Hawaii to clerk on the Hawaii Supreme Court with Justice Richard Pollack.
So you're after law school, you're going to Hawaii.
Yeah, I figured I did my time here in Minnesota.
Yeah, pretty opposite than Minnesota.
Yeah, just trying to get in all the climates while I can, you know.
Huh.
Yeah, we're all looking at you with great disdain for going to Hawaii.
Well, it currently right now is snowing in Cloquet, Minnesota.
Really?
Yeah.
In May?
It's pretty chilly today.
Here, I'll show you the
For
it
those
is.
listeners out there,
This is
it felt like 38 degrees around noon today. So
Wow.
This further validates that people had to have moved here in summer. And they're like, this is amazing.
It must have.
It's supposed to get like 3 to 6 inches up there.
Today?
Yeah, something around that.
it was raining real hard.
What?
It
I
was
was
just
supposed to
raining so hard.
I was
that
supposed to go
imagine
camping
it was
this
a lot of
weekend.
snow.
I'm like,
You could still go.
I could still
You could
go.
snow camp.
Yeah.
I've done it before.
People do that for fun.
Snap.
That sounds almost as much fun as going to Hawaii.
Yeah, I don't know which one
Yeah,
I'd choose.
I think you topped me. I think you came out on top on that one.
And so we'll take a little break here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk more about your clerkship and your employment at the Hawaii Supreme Court.
Sounds good.
Wow.
Welcome back to Cold Call. We're here talking with Robby Dube to discuss a little bit more about your clerkship in Hawaii. And so first, how did you find this clerkship that is in Paradise?
Yeah. So the process for applying for a clerkship starts your 2L year. Nowadays, they don't let you do it until you, I believe, have finished your 2L summer or something like that. They changed the rules recently, but for me, it started 2L fall. And I kind of like lazily applied to like 5 or 6 here and there because the Career Center was like, you should do this. And I was like, okay, fine. I didn't really start until 3L fall when I realized, oh, this is something I'd really like to pursue. So I sent off about 70 applications over a 40-day period from federal circuit all the way to federal magistrate judge. So circuit judges are the ones just below the Supreme Court, and the other district judges. And the magistrate judges are not appointed by the Senate. They're basically appointed by the chief judge, and they help deal with non-dispositive motions. So I was applying for all of those through a website called Oscar, which is what the federal government uses to hire clerks. And hadn't really heard back, which is pretty common. They say, for every 70 applications you send out, you might get one interview. Which is demoralizing, but you kind of just keep doing it. And then...
So you sent out 70 applications. So how many responses did you get back?
In the end, I got 3 back. One was from a federal judge here in Minnesota. One was from a magistrate judge in Texas. And then Justice Richard Pollack, who I'll be working for. So Justice Pollack actually posted on Simplicity, which is the site where law students kind of find random like small firm postings or kind of like, oh, public defenders are hiring here. It's not normally where
Anthony, what are you doing?
Nothing. Go ahead. Continue.
All right. Sorry to distract. Back to the story.
What was that?
I don't know.
He's had a long day. It's fine. We don't judge.
I'm a dog.